Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be reviewing my third round game of the Lake Erie Lockdown Tournament. If you didn't catch last video, I lost in quite a spectacular fashion. So I was 1-1 going into the third round. My opponent, Eric Chiang, he actually goes to the same club as my last round opponent, Steven. So they play a lot. So hopefully Steven didn't tell Eric all my weak points. But yeah, I played Eric once actually in tournament, a couple times online, but we played in tournament I think 2 years ago, and I did win that. But besides that, we don't play too often, and we hadn't played in at least a year, I would guess. So yeah, I'm white, my opponent is black, same time settings as previous rounds, and no Comey. So yeah, let's get into it. Standard opening. And then kick, and we get a Kobayashi kind of shape. Like if white didn't kick and black still just played back, we would get the Kobayashi. But nowadays, you see the kick. Before the kick wasn't considered that good because you would be helping black's stone here to strengthen. But because there's so much emphasis on the corners, and there's still Aji of this sort of move or this sort of move, it's considered a playable move nowadays. And then my next move is attach. So the point of the attach is, in previous Go theory, even, because this is kind of like a modified Kobayashi, right? The reason why you never want to approach normally the Kobayashi is when black pincers, it's generally very hard to deal with this stone. Yeah. So that's why, nowadays, or previously you would see moves like this that would back off a little bit. And you would see kind of variations like this. Again, it's a little modified because of this kick, but you would see a variation like this. This was very common tactics against and with the Kobayashi opening. But of course, this move is not sente, right? Black could ignore, and it gives black, black could still choose to pincer, black could choose to ignore. So white wants black to respond immediately. So white attaches. Yeah. So black hanes. Now here, I think I picked the wrong direction. So I haned this side. Reason I haned this side, so one, if you're going to do this, you definitely need the ladder. So we can see I have a ladder in the upper left. So if you're going to attach, you need a ladder. Otherwise, at this point, it would be pretty difficult to handle the situation. So black in the game Atari'd, and then played here. So you can see I don't really have a nice extension for a base, right? Like, this kind of move is nice, but if black just attaches, let's say we play super simply. One, there's still weakness here, and two, black has completely solidified his group here. And remember, I was talking about how there's some weaknesses here with this sort of move or this sort of move. I kind of wanted to preserve that or those weaknesses. And playing a move like this, it would allow black to play kind of, again, to protect. This would be a little better, and white could come out. But again, white's out, but white is definitely not making many points. So you can see that this direction just isn't worth a lot for white. It's definitely much better to Hani on this side. If we do something similar, this case, white would push once, and then white has 3, so white could extend 3 to be a little safe, or extend all the way to 4. Maybe 3. But you can see white's direction here. White's definitely getting more points this way. And black's left side looks a little intimidating, but there's still invasion points. Again, I pointed to these 2 areas, but again, there's some weaknesses here that white can look for around d8. I think during the game, I remember I played this direction because I was setting up for an invasion point here. But the issue with that is I need to protect myself first. So yeah. I think after the last game too, I was a little perturbed with my play, so I was trying to play strongly, but it just ends up being not so good in the opening. So yeah, black's direction is really good here. This area is much wider than the left side. And when I push once now, I'm even less inclined to extend, because any extension I do is way too over-concentrated. Alright, so I just jump. But then he plays at the perfect shape point, and you can see black has protected the left side a little bit and is getting points on the bottom side. So black is definitely doing much better in the opening. And then I jump in. So usually I would, this would be kind of like the spot to look for. Threatening to connect under or jumping out. But I figured if black just plays here and forcing me to connect, then he'll get the first move in the center. And while this move's big, in terms of this trying to attack the group as a whole, it's not doing too much. So I tried to play a little more aggressively. Yeah, a little more aggressively. It might just revert back to a very similar situation. But black's added a stone, so this group is a little heavier, right? When it's just, if I do this, and this sort of thing happens, right? Black may not answer this move directly, right? If he answers directly, there's peeps and whatnot, but black could just ignore. Black can keep attacking the bottom. Black could jump out this direction. So it's a little different. It might not be much of a difference, but I thought it was. That's the reason why I went here, at least. Trying to be a little more aggressive. Attached on top, descend, and he does block. After this, I think black should just switch to this direction. And the reason is, by going here, it forces white to connect, right? Which is what I do. But maybe later, maybe black gets some stones on this side, right? Maybe black wants to cut white off. So playing this move is actually ohiogoschool for black, because black immediately decides, hey, I want the left side. But you can see the left side isn't worth many points, because D7 is high, and black has an open skirt at B11. So I would just jump directly. If white goes here, it's like, oh, white's spending so many moves to play on the second line. I would just come back. If white answers, though, if white answers, then maybe now you can drop down, and now you could maybe set up a dual attack, right? Something. So this move is definitely questionable. It's definitely ohiogoschool. It forces white to connect, and yeah. And this move is also definitely ohiogoschool, because the value of these two stones are super low, right? They're not surrounding any points in the center. Now that white has connected at B14, there's no oji in the corner. But there is some oji with, peeps like this, or like these kind of moves. But by playing here, black is making these stones heavier. So that means if white peeps later here, black will be more inclined to answer. Whereas without this exchange, if black goes elsewhere and white peeps, black could consider just giving it up, right? Because there's so much oji here. Or because black hasn't spent another move. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Black hasn't made an exchange on the inside, right? If white does cut, there's no way black would still peep on this side, right? Black would use the oji somehow. So, yeah, this move is not so good. It definitely helps white way more than it helps black. Black should just directly cap. So I play at the shape point here. Again, C11 not doing too much. Black does play strongly, though, and keeps separated. And this move is good because it keeps white separated, but it also opens up a backdoor connection for black. So I lean. The point of the lean is I'm trying to get sente even though I give up a stone. Now, I'm not sure that's the best logic, but I definitely was trying to get sente and to get better shape in the center. Now, black's next move is super slack. Super slack. He plays here. So I would defend the left side in a heartbeat. One, it's a lot of points actually because white threw in. But two, there's no Aji here. Because remember, white isn't alive in the center. So white can't play too aggressively, right? Like if white tries stuff like this. Oops, white can't even do that. But you can see if white plays like this, sure, white might live on the bottom. I don't know. I'm just placing stones, but you get the idea. You can see black will then be able to attack in the center. Something like this, at least. Yeah, so I would be open to a fight. Maybe just descend, white goes there, turn maybe. Lots of options, but you can see it feels good for black. So black shouldn't play a move like this. In the game, black just turns here. So this is super solid. If anything, I'd want to see a move like this or like this. Defend the corner or play a little more proactively. This move is just too slack. Too slack. It's almost, it does help with black, but it feels almost like a pass. Because then it gives white the chance to play here. And I remember in the game, my opponent actually typed in the game chat, that's a good move. So he recognized how good of a move this is. So what is this move doing? Well, of course, it's trying to cut black. So remember, white has a connection on the second line at any time at B11. So even though black can cut here, say black cuts here, white can then cover here. You can see black actually can't capture white because this is an Atari, which then means white can connect this way. And it's a little uncomfortable for black. I say a little, but it's a lot uncomfortable for black. Like if black blocks here once, like this, white would then be able to, maybe not directly, but you get the idea. White can really hurt black's shape in the center. So black really can't do that. Black does this move. This move threatens this wedge at C7, so it doesn't actually help, right? So this is actually probably worse, right? Because black shape is a little worse here, because this is an Atari. Actually, white shape is better, that's why. Yeah, and then back to this. So it's very similar. Yeah, what else? Yeah, after this one, there's just nothing else black can try. Again, directly, this is threatening this wedge here. Yeah. So black really can't block this side. If black plays a move like this, white will happily just play like this. Let black connect on the second line. And notice this actually means black isn't alive either. So this would be a disaster for black as well. Because white is now, because white is cut off G8 for now, it's very hard to attack white, and black's base is completely gone. So that wouldn't be good either. This move too just doesn't work. Because it looks like black can cut, but, or connect, but just doesn't help. So then what about this move, the other push, but then white can extend through. So I'm actually curious if black should, and this goes into lots of variations, but black could try to be a little more aggressive by playing a move like this. Again, I'm not sure exactly what would happen. Maybe peep and then attach, or maybe just go here. Yeah, it's hard to say what would happen. Maybe we might get a scenario where we sacrifice the bottom group for the upper left. Potentially. But it's very hard to say because there's just too many variations. So I think for a 30-minute game between two amateurs, I think this is a reasonable choice. So just go here. This is like the, if you really want to test yourself, play this move. But black plays the safer move. Again, white actually can't block here because even though white can Atari and come back and connect, because black pushes here, it's too painful. Because one, if white blocks directly, this ladder is actually good for black, I believe. It would go to like here. All right, let me just make sure. Yeah, it's good for black. Which means white has to do this, but again, white can't Atari on this side. And yeah, going here means black's threatening this cut and this cut. So white cannot block here, but white can double peep by going here. Black blocks, and then white covers. So white gives up a stone in the center, but white cuts off b7 stone. And now notice white has a connection here at b11. And then black jumps to protect the center. That's a reasonable move. And then I defend my corner. Yeah. And because I have this backdoor connection, I figure this group is pretty light as well. Black Hanes, I extend. He jumps. Again, it's so passive. Why not Hane? It's like he's afraid of fighting here, but he shouldn't be. It goes there. I jump. Then he Ataris here. This is very Ajikeshi. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to play a little faster, but it actually doesn't help that much because he's just leaving behind weaknesses. And because, again, I have this backdoor connection at any time, I just say, okay, I'll just play in your corner. I defended my corner a few moves ago by going here. So if you're not going to defend yours, I will take yours. And why do you attach as opposed to play the 3-3? Right? You'll see the attach sometimes. The point of it is when you go here, you're basically saying, I don't care which side you give me, black. It really doesn't matter. But in this case, obviously, black would block on this side, right? This is where all of black's points are. So because I know black wants to play there, and will basically, no matter what, block on this side, you can play here. And the reason why is since all of black's points are here, black probably wouldn't want to play in the corner because when white plays in this direction, all of black's points are getting erased. Even if something like this happens, like this. Because white has a backdoor connection, white's actually able to play pretty strongly here. And yeah, you can see, and maybe this is a little possible for black, but you can see white gets into black's area here. So when you're okay with giving up the corner, or when giving up the corner is good for you, right? This is a direction that's good for white. That's when you can play the attachment. And if black just blocks on this side, you can see white's corner is a little bit bigger and black's side is a little bit smaller compared to if white just blocks here and does this, right? There was a white stone at Q3 if white attaches. So the corner would be a little bigger. So yeah, that's why you attach when you're almost certain that they want to take this side that you're attaching on. And he does block, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then he blocks here, actually, which I don't understand. Because when you block here, you're basically saying, I want to develop the right side. But there's nothing to develop on the right side. So I just Hane here, and I'm very happy. Very happy with this. Black forced me to reduce his area. And now all of a sudden, after I protect there, I have this corner, I have this corner, I have the upper right corner for now. It's most likely going to be white's. And then I have a couple points here. Black's only points are the bottom, and maybe a few points in here. But besides that, black has nothing. So yeah, this was definitely a very bad result for black in the lower right. I compared this result to if black had just connected. 1, black would get Sente. And 2, black keeps most of his bottom. Or a lot of his bottom. But by going here, so it's just, yeah, don't know. And then even this move feels a little slack, but not sure. But yeah, at this point I feel pretty good. I was, going back a few moves, I was very afraid. After this, I'm like, wow, that's a huge bottom that black's developing, but I was just able to pretty easily reduce it. And black plays there. So this move tells me black, well, maybe not. This doesn't feel like a great move, though, because obviously, once black has strengthened white here at E16, I can peep and then cut. So what is the point of the peep? You can see when black pushes and I cover. When black pushes and cuts, when I connect, notice this peeping stone at E13 is threatening to connect back. So I have a backdoor connection now. And black Hanes. So I'm not sure why black actually pushed. Why not just Hane? Because white can't double Hane because then black just connects. Because black would Atari this way and connect back. So white would have to do something else, even just do this, but then black's shape is much better. If white keeps extending, then black would just keep extending. Yeah. Cutting here was way too early because it meant now I can Hane here. And black has to extend. Black does this, white can force first with all these moves. Right? All these moves are sente, and then white can come back. And black's getting cut up and might die in the center or in the upper side. Black extended. I connect back. And here I played way too fast. I just Hane'd. And I'll show the result first, and I'll show you what white should have done instead. And then connects, and I'm like, oh, I get to cut him off. But then it's like, oh, he can just... That's a double Atari. Makes sense. Yeah. I had to connect, and then... Now that he surrounded me, even if I play co-threat... I know, like this. We can see, even though I maybe get a little compensation there, black will be able to connect back and make all these stones points. Yeah. And maybe this would be good enough, but I figured it wasn't worth risking it. Because again, last game, I was way too risky. So I just connected back. But back just connects, so I really didn't gain much in the center. I reduced a little bit, and I created some cutting points, but besides that, black just connects. So what should have white done instead? White should have peeped here. And if black connected, then jump. This is much better. Much, much better. And it looks like there's some double peep issues here, but not really. After this, if black cuts, just go here. And now I've cleanly cut through black, which is the plan, or which is what the plan was. Yeah, nothing really else black can do either to connect, so it would have been much better. Oh, if black was here, then this I just cut. And again, very similarly, black can capture the one stone, but it doesn't help too much because white can just connect back. So that would have been much, much better. This looks like, the proper shape point, but because it's too short on liberties, it doesn't help, actually. This is poor play by me, good play by black. And I fix here. Looks like a slow move, but now that I actually help black connect, this group is getting surrounded. So even if I play a big move like this move is sente, it'll force me to connect back, which then means black could do something to build the right side somehow. Would it be enough to win? I'm not sure. But I didn't want to see that. I wanted to keep my head out. And then black attached. Yeah, there's a weakness here, but black doesn't have time to just play it directly. Attached. But I say, okay, I'll play it. And then he fixes. A lot of people, or some queues, might think like you need to connect by going here or here or here or something like that. But of course, this shape is not good, right? So this sort of move is much better because white can't cut because you can just Hane and surround. So it forces white to play on the outside first. And then if you come back, even if you do this move now or pull back, you can see white still can't cut, right? So that's the point of the attach. So if your opponent plays this sort of, I think it's called the rotten egg, the rotten egg's nest, you want to look for playing moves like this. You want to resist having to connect as painfully as possible. So you want to resist that. So black Hanes here, or attaches, and then actually double Hanes, which I was not expecting. Yeah, I just Atari and connect though. Yeah, and he cuts, and then I can extend. He fixes and Atari. Yeah, not really sure if this is good or not, if I'm being honest. If he does that, I can cut. If he fixes, I can cut here. Potentially, not sure. You can see this cut is actually pretty painful for black, because this group in the center is under attack. And if black lives, something like this maybe. That's actually, maybe it's not so clean how to live. But let's just assume black lives. I could then come back here. So I can just split black up. So that's why in the game, black just cut directly. Even though this is a move he kind of wants to play, I don't think it works, this move here. But then I get to go here. So the double Atane I think looks fancy, but I think it's not so good here. And then I Atari. And then he Hanes, and I double Hane back. So I think this move is a little better. I think what he was worried about was just giving me the entire corner. The corner's pretty solid now. I think he was trying to play a little bit more into the corner, but this Hane is very big. Atari, and then connect, block, and then Hane, and then he extends. But this game is pretty hard for black already, though. I think. Yeah. Because I know this is basically black's only points in the bottom left, so I just got to get rid of the points here, and I basically win this game. Black's attach kind of surprised me for that reason. And then, like, even if I just connect, he would just be taking, like, second line territory, right? Which isn't that good. It feels like black needs to play much stronger here. Again, it's hard. It's hard. But maybe even do a move like that. You know, maybe strengthen first with attachments here. You know, try to gain some strength to then attack. Not sure. Because again, white still hasn't connected back. So if you cut off the center group somehow, then there's potential. This might be black's only chance to get into the game again. But by just playing passively on the third line, then it's not how you do it. But I Atari first. Black connects, and then I go here. So here is a lot of mistakes are coming, which, if you're like, oh, 5 down and 4 downs are so strong. Well, I'm about to show you, we are not as strong as you might think. So I play here. So black blocks, and I play here. Thinking, oh, that works, right? So the question is, does it work? And the answer is no, it does not. Just simply put. So in the game, black plays here, or black pushes and blocks. Now this move actually kills black, because I can Atari. When he goes there, when I take, you can see I'm threatening to connect here, but also Hane here and make this dead shape. And even if black connects first, or Atari's first, it's white just connects. And again, black blocks, white Hanes, and it's a dead shape. If black goes here, again, white Hanes, and it's a dead shape. Black plays there, white just connects. Yeah. And if black does it this way, because white played so strongly here at like F16 and all that, white's able to cleanly connect, and it's able to, let's say black does some throw-ins, will be able to easily connect back, because white is so strong here. So that would be dead. Or, yeah, black would be dead. Yeah, so that's not the move. Black goes here, this is also dead, because white can just push in here. If black Atari's here, though, it might look like this is an eye, but actually white can just play here. And again, this is actually a false eye, and black doesn't have enough space to make 2 eyes. So that's dead. So how does, and black goes here, white just connects back. Yeah, pretty simple. So the question is, how does black live? Simply by playing here. Sometimes the simplest move is the best move. So white Hanes, black plays here, and black's alive, because there's no way white can take away this eye at N19 or L19. It might look like white can do kind of this sort of move, but because white can't connect. White can't falsify L19. So white needs to do this kind of thing. Black goes here. But now, if white tries to make the dead shape, black can extend here. And you can see if white extends, black can then Atari, and this is not a dead shape, right? Black has enough space to make two eyes. If white Hanes though, here, black can just directly Atari, and white needs to connect. But then when black takes, you can see black's threatening to live at M19 or P19. So that doesn't work. If white just attaches, similarly, black just descends. So yeah, black's just alive. That's not the move. And I was so confident during the game. Turns out I should not have been. I think this move's much more interesting. I think it's Seki this way. I could be wrong, but I believe it's Seki. Black descends. Hane, play there, like this sort of thing. Sente Seki, which wouldn't be too bad. So I think it's Seki. So if someone wants to correct me if this is Seki or not, please do. Again, my life and death is not the greatest. Actually, black can just go here because his throne works, right? Yeah, so black's just alive even still. I didn't see black blocking at N19 in my review because I was like, oh, white can connect, but cannot. So yeah, I guess black's just alive. Black's just alive. So yeah, after this, I should have just left it then and gone back to here or something else. But yeah, black's alive there. But this is good though. This is what I need to help my life and death. And I guess both of us needs to help our life and death because this should not have happened, I guess. There, Atari. Yeah, black clamps. I can just connect when he descends. Black's dead. So then he attaches. Again, he's trying to do stuff here. But again, especially after killing the top, I just connect and say, I just need to live here and I'm fine. Black Hanes, I can Atari, and then he wedges. Trying to do stuff here, but nothing works because I can just attach. Make the tiger's mouth. This actually reduces black's corner. And you can see capturing at D11 and capturing at B8 are Miai for white. But this is a huge move, right? This is Sente because it'll capture the 4 stones. But black doesn't play it. And I'm like, okay, I get that. Play there, that move seems bigger. Because once I connect, I save the stones, but I'm also threatening at S8. I cut at S8. The black takes the stone, so I just capture. Black plays here, threatening to push and cut here. So I fix. He plays this move to help the center stones, but then I can play this move. And again, this move is huge reverse Sente. It was Sente for both players, right? It's still Ko. I think he should play the Ko because again, him winning the Ko means he can potentially capture the 4 stones. I think he thought, oh, since this is an Atari, I have to go here and then get to play here anyways. But because capturing there isn't 2 eyes, I can just push through. And then after this, he resigns. After I cut these off. But yeah, pretty much the opposite of my last game, where I was basically doing pretty poorly in the opening. Maybe not too bad, but I was doing badly in the opening. And I was able to catch up through mistakes from my opponent, which is what last game felt like in reverse. Yeah. Black got way too... I think I forgot to mention it, but I think black blocked the attachment on this side to attack this group here, this white group. When I attached at Q3. So black got way too anxious about attacking this group, especially after playing so many passive moves on the bottom. So it was like he couldn't decide what he wanted to do almost. Yeah. But yeah, that's it for this video. Well, I guess I should say, so after this, I'm 2-1. and this actually set up for the big final round that everybody who knew about the tournament was waiting for. So I'll leave that as a surprise. Yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment in the comment section. I read all the comments, so please do that. It could be about anything, about the game, about Go, about life. You decide. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.